detention. He is accused of fomenting and glorifying violence as well as instigating persons to invade Uganda. There have been diplomatic tensions between Rwanda and Uganda. The general recently said Rwanda should support people who want to cause change in Uganda, but he denies encouraging violence. The police describe his rhetoric as provocative and inflammatory.
The Prime Minister of New Zealand, Jacinda Ardern, says she believes the country has fundamentally changed in the year since a gunman killed more than 50 people at 2 mosques in the city of Christchurch. But she acknowledged that much more needed to be done to stop radicalisation. The Prime Minister was speaking in Christchurch ahead of a prayer meeting with worshippers from the 2 mosques. The president of football's governing body in the US, Carlos Cordeiro, has resigned and apologised for offending the national women's team. Mr. Cordeiro said he took responsibility for legal papers that said they had less skill and fewer responsibilities than their male counterparts. The women's side have won the World Cup 4 times and have 4 Olympic gold medals. The men's team have never won a major international title. BBC News.
明天的希望无限，听见台北的人情味，全世界火力在线，全都在台北 Radio。
公民总主笔，
方恩格时间。
当家抢先报，你不能不知道。今天公民总主笔时间邀请台北市政府警察局2名外事警员，分别为中正第1分局陈静文以及信义分局郭正贤，请他们来分享担任外事警察的甘苦谈，包含经手过哪些复杂棘手或有趣的案件，外事警察所具备的语言能力，还有外国人如果需要警方协助时应该联系谁等问题。你有权利保持沉默，但千万别错过本集节目。让我们一起加入今天的方恩格时间。
谁当家？
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 你当家？
谁当家？谁当家？
谁当家？
当家？我当家？你当家？我当家？
我当家？
到底谁当家？你来当家。
Welcome to the Residence Messenger program on the Taipei Broadcasting Station. I'm your host, Ross Feingold. Today we're joined by Officer Logan and Officer Emma of the Taipei City Government Police Department Foreign Affairs Police. Emma, Logan, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Emma, tell us about your career in policing. How did you become a police officer, and how did you become a Foreign Affairs Police officer?
Well, I graduated from the Department of Foreign Languages and Literature, Tsinghua University. And before becoming a police officer, I worked in the university as an administrative assistant for a few times. And then afterward, I'm thinking of doing something more challenging. So I decided to take the entrance exam and be a police officer.
Now, is the entrance exam you took specific for Foreign Affairs Police, or it's a general police exam that any entry-level officer would be taking?
The test I took was especially for Foreign Affairs Police officer.
Mm-hmm. And how many people take that test every year?
It depends on how many openings available.
Mm-hmm. But it's very competitive. You must be like, the top of the top to get this job, right?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Very modest.
Have to be competent. Because in the year I took the test, there are only 9 openings available. Mm-hmm. And afterwards, only one opening. And this year, no opening at all.
Well, because once someone gets in the Foreign Affairs Police, they don't want to leave?
Well, actually, there's 2 ways that for people to become a police. One is that you study for a diploma, then you go to the Central Police University or the Central Police College to study for a diploma, and then you took the police test and then become a police officer. And the other way is that, like us, me and Logan, we graduate from university rather than the two schools I mentioned. And then you can took the test first. Afterward, you go to the petty school for training.
So, Logan, did you want to be a police officer growing up?
Actually, no, to be honest. But because I studied public administration and international relations when I was in college and in graduate school. So, yeah, I think because of my background in my college, and I started to work for government here in Taiwan. Then, because and later in the graduate school, I studied international relations. I was wondering what kind of job can I combine those two different field of interest to be my career. So yeah, I found foreign affairs police could be a good choice. So I joined the force.
So you took that exam just like Emma, and you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And you were at the top of the class in the exam.
Well, I should be humble, but yes. Yeah.
Well, we're glad to have you. As a foreigner in Taipei, I'm glad that we have such talented people on the foreign affairs police. Tell us about that training, Logan. So after you pass the exam, you're offered to go into the training program. How much is focused on being a regular police officer, and how much of your training was focused on things that you would do specifically as a foreign affairs police? Okay,
so basically we have 2 years training program in the Central Police University after we pass the exam. So the first year will be like the much more like general police training. So we take we have study laws, and we have studied a lot of different regulations related to policing, and also some administration's knowledge. How can we manage, and how can we manage the force, and how can we enforce? So because Taiwan, we are a country value human rights. So we have to study a lot of laws and regulations so that we can prevent any human rights abuse here in Taiwan. And then the second year in my training program, which will be much more professional, so we will study like languages, and also for some international laws, international relations, and also some more specific subjects in the second year. But in the 2 years, the period of 2 years training, there will be a lot of physical trainings like judos, and we have to running for every days, and swimming. Yeah. So I will say much more like the training program. During the training program, I will say there are more physical trainings compared to the academic training, because I will say this job is quite special. Yeah, you need a lot of.
You need to run after the foreigners.
Yeah.
If needed,
you need to keep up with us.
Yeah, right. So that's one of the.
Okay, then I'm going to ask you a really tough question. Do you have to maintain that physical training now?
You're supposed to. You're supposed to have to.
You guys look thin.
Monthly training.
Yeah, we have to. Yeah, monthly.
You have to take a test every month to.
Test for every half year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Emma, in that first year with this physical training, did you also do weapons training?
Sure.
So you're good with a gun?
Have to be.
What kind of guns do you know how to use?
Now we're using PPQ.
But foreign affairs police, do they usually carry guns?
Well, in daily life, we seldom have to carry guns.
Because foreigners are really non-violent people in Taiwan,
yes.
Right? So you don't need guns for us.
Well, it really depends.
It really depends on the situation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But if you go out on patrol in a police car, you would normally carry guns?
Yes, because patrol is one of we call this much more like a dangerous mission, dangerous task. So usually, this is our internal regulations that all the patrol officers should be armed. And in case of any emergencies or in case of any violent situations. Yeah.
Tell us a bit more about. You said you have some study about laws and human rights and things like that. So, we all watch those American TV shows where they say, "Oh, you have a right to remain silent." Do we have a right to remain silent in Taiwan when we get arrested?
Of course.
Do I have a right to a lawyer?
Yeah, sure, of course.
You have the right to an answer.
Including the foreigners?
Yes, exactly.
Really? Exactly.
Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned this, because I will say that all the people here, regardless that you are Taiwan nationals or regardless that you are foreign nationals, you are treated equally. I can guarantee that, right? Yeah.
So if I say I want a lawyer, you'll get me a lawyer?
Sure.
Well, you don't look sure.
Really?
Well, you can get a lawyer anytime you want. It depends on if you are applying for the legal assistant or not. Because we police, we have to help you to find legal assistance if you are qualified for some like status, economic or some identity.
But when a foreigner gets arrested, they have a right to have a lawyer when they're questioned.
Yes.
And right away.
It's
Before making the statement. So before a foreigner got arrested, we would read out all the rights he can enjoy, like including remain silent, the right to an attorney, and don't have to, and
yeah, I mean, like you can ask for any
or
all the evidence which is in favor of you
to investigate the evidence that is favorable to your side.
Right.
And now a lot of foreigners, and I know they do this because I've heard them say this. They think that, well, if I get arrested in Taiwan, I'll just call my representative office. I'll call my Dai Biao Chu, and they're going to rescue me. Can they really rescue people just like that? They'll get them out of jail.
It depends on the situation.
But of course, we do have our standard operation procedures here in our systems. That every time when we when we are arresting foreign nationals, we will ask them if they need us to notify their representative office here in Taiwan, because we call this the consular assistance. So this is our regulations that we have to do this, and we always educate our officers to do this every time when they arrested or when they detain any foreign nationals here in Taipei, Taiwan. Yeah.
Now you mentioned that you have to read their rights and all these things to the foreigners. That raises a really important question. How many languages do you speak at the Foreign Affairs Police, whether here in Taipei City or in other parts of Taiwan?
Basically, you have to speak English, and for the Foreign Affairs Police recruiting, we recruit English and Japanese. And in Taipei, there are some colleagues that speak Korean and German. And for other languages, that we would seek interpreter for help.
Yeah. So, like, for example, there are a lot of foreign workers in Taiwan from the Philippines, Indonesia, Thailand. The Foreign Affairs Police doesn't have officers who speak these languages, so you have to get interpreters.
We are trying to have our more and more officers to speak in like some of languages which of the Southeast East Asian countries. But now we are still educating our officer to speak those languages. But as Mayma said, that we have a very solid systems that we for the interpreters. So every time when we are encountering with some cases involving with the foreign migrant workers here in Taipei, then we will help them to reach out the interpreter right away. Yeah.
So when you join the police force or when you finish your training, what was your first assignments? Were you driving around in a patrol car, the ones that say "Wai Shi Jing Cha" on the side of the car, or were you in an office right away the whole time? Emma, tell us about in English we say your career progression.
Well, firstly, I was assigned to the Shilling precinct for 2 months only. It's for training, part of the training. And afterward, I was back to the headquarters, the police department, and stayed there for some 2.5 years. Mostly my job there was interpreting, translating, and receiving foreign guests from different countries.
So you're receiving foreign guests. You're not out protecting the foreigners like me who live in Taipei.
That's after I went to Zhongzheng First Precinct right now. So that's why I'm doing every day.
And how about you, Logan? What was your career progression?
Okay, for my first step, I mean, when I was still a newbie in the systems, my first position was also in the headquarters. I was in charge of the English training for our officers. Yeah, because we have some budgets and in our police department. Then we will educate our officers to use language and to speak in English, because we try to be more English friendly society. Because as you know, Taipei is the capital of Taiwan. That we hope that our officers can speak English and to be more friendly to foreigners. Yeah, so that's my first, I would say, like the work in the police systems. And the second, then I went to several precincts here in Taipei. I went to Zhongzhen first, and then Zhongshan, and now I'm in Xinyi. So I would say Xinyi, the Xinyi police precinct, we have a lot of foreign offices there. There are around 33 foreign missions in my area. So my main job is that to safeguard their security, because I will call this much more like a diplomatic security, just like the work in the States. I think in the State Department in the U.S. you have this kind of system for diplomatic security service. So I think we are doing the same thing, that we protect the.
Well, you know, in Washington D.C., it's actually the Secret Service that guards foreign embassies. The uniform secret. They're not so secret because they're wearing a uniform. But it's just that's one of their jobs, is the Secret Service actually guards the foreign embassies. But don't give us any names, of course. But is it common that representative offices in Taipei, they get a threatening phone call or a threatening letter? Somebody went to visit a country and they didn't have a good time, so they come back to Taiwan and they call up the representative office and say, you know, I hate you, or something like that. Is that common?
It happens.
Really?
It happens, yeah, because I will not only for Taiwanese nationals, but also for some foreigners. Maybe they are, I think if they are applying for the visas, and if their application was rejected by the foreign governments, I think, yeah, it's the complaint, and also even some aggressive actions will appear. So yeah, it really happens.
And you've had to arrest people for this, or you just warn them and say, look, stop making those phone calls to the representative office of whatever country. Okay, we're on to you. We know who you are.
As I said, at Taiwan, we are a country with we highly respect human rights. So we have our procedures. We will initiate our investigation, and we will ask for the warrant from the prosecutors, and so we have our procedures. But I can guarantee that we can have all the bad things solved very well. Yeah.
Well, that raises another good story, because I've been in Taiwan since 1996, so soon it'll be 25 years. Now, years ago, foreign friends, they used to say to me, well, if I ever get stopped when I'm driving my scooter or car because I turn right with the red light and I don't have a license, I'll just say I don't speak Mandarin, and they'll let me go. Now, years ago, they used to say that. But nowadays, because you said you try to train the police, nowadays I hear that this doesn't work anymore, because the police will say, don't worry, you wait here. I'll call the Foreign Affairs Police.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad to hear that.
But is this still a problem? Do you get this feedback from the local precincts that they have difficulty communicating with foreigners? And will the local police precinct, will they give up and just let the person go? Assuming it's not a violent crime. I mean, obviously they're not going to let them go if it's but for a red light or things like that.
Well, in Taipei, I can guarantee that
it doesn't work.
It doesn't work, because in Taipei, most of the police officers can speak simple English at least. And then for a further interpretation, they would call up for a foreign affairs police officer, which is 24/7.
Yeah.
So it's kind of impossible to happen in Taipei.
So foreigners who are watching the show, it doesn't work.
Doesn't work at all.
No.
Officers here to tell you, don't say I don't speak Mandarin. It's just they're going to detain you.
Yeah,
that will be useless.
Yeah. And then you're really unpleasant, right? Maybe you'll search their car or something like that.
Yeah, maybe.
Some foreigners may try to escape the test of drunk driving. So they pretend not to understand English, and so that not understanding the request from the police, and trying to make a scene there and yelling, and then say, I don't speak Mandarin and let me go, or something. So the situation you just mentioned might have happened before, but nowadays most police officers can speak English, and we foreign affairs police can.
You'll be there very quickly.
Yes, in a short time. So So it's impossible for them to make a scene.
Now you said you're 24/7. Overnight, what kind of support would you provide? I mean, if a foreigner, for example, calls up and say, I think my home was broken into, they call you at 3 a.m. Are you going to send someone right away? You're going to say, sorry, this isn't like an emergency. We'll come tomorrow morning.
No, that's gonna be impossible, because as Emma said that we are 24/7 services, but usually the police, the local police, which are not foreign affairs, I think they will go to the scene at the first beginning. Then they will know they will try to collect all the materials for the case, and also if we found that the subject he or she is foreign nationals, that we will have them back to this police station. Then we will contact. I mean, the officer, they will contact the foreign affairs station.
But would they only contact you if there's a language challenge? And normally there wouldn't be a need to contact the foreign affairs police, or would they always contact the foreign affairs police?
They have to. They have to. Yeah. This is our
and that's regardless if the foreigner is a victim of a crime,
yes,
or if they're accused of a crime.
Yes, exactly.
Either way, they would have to contact your office.
Yes. So not only for language, but also this is our procedures, because we have to guarantee that their rights are 100% protected. So we have to dispatch foreign affairs police right away if we are notified with any cases involving foreigners.
It doesn't matter if it's, like I said, just a break-in. If it's not an emergency, you'll still go over.
It's impossible. You just call whatever situation happens. You just call 110, and then the command and control center would dispatch a police officer to the spot within a couple of minutes, and if needed, the police, foreign affairs police, would be there too.
Because I was telling you before the show, I've had my own experience where I went into the local police station. They were very nice, but they felt very bad. They said, we don't have anyone here who speaks English, and they felt bad about it too.
Yeah, as I said, I think Taiwanese, especially police, we are very friendly to foreigners. Yeah, but actually, I will say like all the officers here in Taipei, they can speak basic English. But if you are going to further like a more complicated situation, then they may not handle that very well. So yeah, they will contact the foreign affairs. Yeah.
And do the foreign affairs police wear the same uniform as the other police, or you have a badge? It says foreign affairs police.
Only the badge.
Only the badge.
From the foreign affairs.
But otherwise, the uniform's identical.
All the same.
So there's no way to just look at you and know that you're foreign affairs police.
We have our ID.
You whip it out like in the American movies, and you take it out like that.
Well, we do have our ID, but not badge.
No badge? Why no badge?
You can make advice.
Yeah.
You'd like to have one.
Well, we will introduce ourselves nicely and friendly to the foreigners to let them know we are a foreigner. Foreign affairs.
Yeah, because very recently, all the police in Taiwan, you changed your uniform, right?
Yeah.
It used to be a much lighter color.
Oh yeah.
Now this one's a little more tougher looking. It looks more like real police. Besides the foreign affairs police, who else might a foreigner interact with as far as a police agency especially in the big cities? The immigration agency. I mean, how is their work different than your work?
Okay.
Well, the Immigration Bureau deals with issues that related to the bottom line. So for illegal entry or for illegal stay, that kind of thing, that would be the business of the Immigration Bureau.
So if somebody is overstay in Taiwan, they get a knock on the door, it's not going to be you. It's going to be the immigration?
Sometimes.
Yeah, it's kind of a multi-task because a lot of different agencies here in Taiwan, I mean, it's kind of a national task. I mean, we not only for police, but also for immigration and other related agencies like Coast Guard, they have to deal with the so-called illegal stay.
And what about the police agencies that deal with more serious crimes like drug trafficking, like the criminal investigation division or the Ministry of Justice Investigation Bureau, do they also deal directly with foreigners in Taipei, or would they work closely with you as well if it's foreigners in Taiwan who are committing a crime?
Yeah, I think there are several cases in Taipei. I mean, not only in Taipei but also Taiwan. A lot of cases involving related to the human trafficking and drug trafficking, because those crimes are much more complicated. So I think in general, I will say the MJIB, like you said, and also the NPA, like us. I mean, we are police and Coast Guard, and MJIB and immigration. We will work together and to investigate those major crimes. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you've been listening to the Residence Messenger program. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back from the break, we'll talk some more with Officers Logan and Emma about some really interesting cases that they have dealt with as Foreign Affairs Police in Taipei City.
收听台北广播电台 FM 93.1 AM 1134，让你的心情嗨起来。大家好，我是陈09。
哇，好帅哦！
帅又怎样？看他一路闯红灯抢快，太危险了。
哎呀，前方出车祸了！是刚刚的机车骑士骑太快，又没开大灯。
看吧，比起耍帅啊，维护你我的安全才是真爱的表现。不闯红灯，不超速，行车开灯安全更。
以上广告由交通部道安委员会及台北市政府交通局提供。
我是陈立琴护理师，照顾陪病期间一定要遵守的5大原则：第一，每日量测体温；照顾陪病前有发烧或呼吸道症状，请暂停照护，尽速就医。第二，全程正确戴口罩。第三，接触病人前后，请依照正确洗手步骤。第四，用餐时不交谈，降低传染风险。第五，避免于密闭或人多场所聚会，照护不忘防疫。
有政府请安心资讯由机关署提供。
亲爱的听众朋友，防疫期间减少到医院，可以使用通讯软体关心亲友。陪病、探病人数以及时间都有限制，必要到医院时，请随身携带健保卡或是身份证件以供备查，并且配合各项管制措施，主动告知旅游史、职业别、接触史以及是否群聚。以上内容由台北市政府卫生局提供。
大家好，我是台大医院儿童感染科主治医师张鸾英。
有咳嗽、酷酷扫、流鼻水、打喷嚏的时候要戴口罩，然后如果没有口罩，我们就要拿什么卫生纸，然后黏住口鼻，不要让你的飞沫散出来。如果连卫生纸都没有怎么办？那就是要用袖子，对，要洗手。
有政府请安心，资讯由机关署提供。
我是副总统陈建仁。武汉肺炎疫情发生以来，政府部分中央甲地方拢为着疫情的控制在打拼。咱来感谢全国所有的医护人员为台湾坚守防线，让大家会当安心接受隔离和检疫的民众，配合政府的规定，为台湾的疫情提供上关键的帮站。咱大家爱互相加油，团结一心，为守护台湾来做伙打拼。
有政府唔免惊，资讯由机关署提供。
2020历史复活节中正有意思系列活动将在3月14号到7月26号办理，活动包含了中正行基点线面、杂草烧漫、漫步城市采集历史、智慧实境中正古迹寻宝地图、中正积木王亲子乐高竞赛、李国鼎故居历史复活亲子手作、华山青春热舞竞赛、北门影中机及导览、台北城茶文化体验讲座及小白宫面具手作派对等9项活动，邀您一同西游中正，体验古迹历史人文之美。详情请上中正区公所网站查询，或电卡02-2341-6721分机316。以上内容由台北市中正区公所提供。
2020竹子湖海芋季及绣球花季，3月27号起到6月21号，竹子湖地区与例假日及连续假期实施交通管制，请于台北车站搭乘260，捷运剑潭站搭乘红谷到阳明山站转乘花季专车，或于捷运石牌站搭乘小巴128，捷运北投站搭乘小九129上山赏花。以上内容，台北市政府产业发展局提供。
Welcome back to the Residence Messenger program on Taipei Broadcasting Station. I'm joined by Officers Logan and Emma from the Taipei City Government Police Department, Foreign Affairs Police. So, Emma, tell us about some really interesting cases. If I had to ask you, what is the most interesting case you have dealt with involving a foreigner?
Well, I won't say interesting, because sometimes I feel quite troublesome with this kind of. It's not big case as you see in the movies, but it happens every day. It's like when I was still newbie in the headquarters, I encountered a kind of insane guy from Germany, and he kept making complaint to all the departments of the government, saying that he was sexually abused by the Taiwanese police. So he kept mailing and making phone calls.
So why did it go on? I mean, why wasn't he just quickly arrested for this behavior? You just wanted to give him a chance because you're nice?
Well, we till these days we're not sure whether what he wants, because I think he was a little bit insane. But what troubles us the most is that even he was back to the German, he kept calling whenever he thought of it. So once in a while, he would call to the police station or call the precinct or the headquarters and to discuss about his issue, and every time in different ways.
Well, why don't they just tell him to call you, and every time he wants to call, at least he just has one contact window.
Yes, and when he make his complaint by mail, then we have to translate the official document and mail back to him.
Well, why don't you just write back, sorry, next time send it to us in Chinese, not German.
I wish I could, but we offer too good service in Taiwan.
How about you, Logan? What would you say is the most interesting case you have dealt with as a Foreign Affairs Police?
Okay, yeah, as Emma says, that the things that we deal with, because police, every day that we are encountering some bad things. So I would not say interesting, but some sad story. But yeah, I think which is very which is not easy to forget. I mean, yeah, I dealt with some cases which is the foreigners who has some mental issues, especially here in Taipei. They were hanging around on the streets and they don't want to go back to their mother countries, and they just making a lot of troubles in Taipei. They steal some small things. They always commit some petty crimes in the convenience stores, in some department stores, some shops. So yeah, just like every week that you will receive the report of that specific foreigners.
So it's the same small number of people who do this over and over again.
Yeah.
But you don't deport them. You let them stay.
No, because we have our procedures. Because here in Taiwan, our legal system is kind of a long procedures.
Yeah, you could appeal forever.
Yes, so they have to stay until all the trial finished. So yeah, so which means that they can stay here legally and they can commit crimes again and again because they have some mental issues, I said. So at that time, from my experiences, I tried to collect all the resources for that foreigners, because I know that it was she. I mean, she didn't do that on purpose. I think she has some problems, and I reach out to the representative office of her countries in Taipei and tried to ask them to contact her family in her country. Yeah, right. So finally, yeah, I'm glad that all the things are solved, and we glad that because of the office, they also step in to help with that. So I mean, yeah, all the cases are solved very perfectly. Yeah.
Emma, we often see in the news that story about the drunk foreigner, because the news seems to love, the Taiwan media seems to love this story of the drunk foreigner, running around the street, going into the convenience store or something like that. Is that actually a big problem, especially here in Taipei, because there's a lot of nightlife, so there's a lot of dancing and pubs. Is that a big problem, or does it take up a lot of the foreign affairs police? Especially tonight, it's Friday night, Saturday night. Do you get a lot of phone calls for drunk foreigners? Is it a big problem for the foreign affairs police?
Right, that kind of situation happens a lot. Yes, and some of the foreigners may pretend not to understand English, but most of them understand. Pretend not to speak Mandarin, but most of them speak very well, and even they speak well Taiwanese. So they try to make a scene and pretend like to have language barriers so as to escape from the arrest or the breath test. But that's
if they're driving.
Yeah.
But what if they're not driving? They've been partying with their friends and now they're outside in the street, or sometimes they get into a fight in a bar.
Yeah, now you mentioned that. The other day I was still with a like public gathering of fighting happened in the party world, a karaoke, and there's nothing to do for the teenagers and the young guys, so they just see each other and just without any reason they got fight, and then all the two sides or three sides just got black and blue and all the wounds on head. So I was requested early in the morning after I finished
your shift.
My shift between 3 to 6. I was about to rest, and I received a phone call from the command and control center and saying that there's one foreigner needed interpretation. And I was there in the police station. That guy was kind of really not cooperates with the police, so he can understand Mandarin very well because he went to American school in Taiwan since he was in high school, but he pretend not understanding. But anyway, we offer English service, and I was there to interpret, and he was like, get someone who speak English for me. I don't speak with you. You can't speak English. I don't speak with you.
Was he still drunk at the time?
Possible, huh?
Possible.
Oh, yeah.
Really, yeah. But anyway, he was trying to be make a scene. But anyway, I have to finish that statement and transfer the case to the investigation squadron and then to the prosecutor's office.
So for a foreigner who gets drunk and makes a scene, there will be criminal charges. You're not just going to tell them to, okay, calm down and go home. I mean, if it's necessary to have criminal charges.
It really depends. It really depends.
In English we would say something like disturbing the peace, or
yes.
Here you say crimes against social order under the Taiwan criminal.
Yeah, exactly.
Law.
Yes.
But you will prosecute for that. You will pass it to the prosecutors. And
if they attack people, if they commit some criminals, if their behavior are related to the criminal cases here, so yeah, like attacking or some other criminal behaviors, that will be.
What about drugs? Have you been involved in drugs cases? And here's your chance to give a warning to the foreign community. Don't do drugs. But have you been involved in drugs cases?
Yeah, I went still with a case. Originally it's a domestic violence. The wife reported to the police that his foreign husband, beat her. But afterward, when I was there, she secretly told us that actually my husband was stealing drugs.
I guess she didn't love him much at that point. Yeah, he was abusing her.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's domestic violence, and what's more, so she's quite frightened and she wants to get rid of that guy. So when I was helping the interpretation of the statement of the foreigner, who can speak Mandarin very well too, was like very cunning and try to escape our question. So I have to translate every single word very precisely to avoid any excuse from him. But even if I offer English service, he still make a complaint about my bad English.
Wow. How about you? Your English is excellent, so I can't imagine that. Well, what about you? Have you been involved in drug cases?
To be honest, personally, I didn't get involved with any drug cases from my experiences. But one of my colleagues, and because we work together, then he dealt with some cases related to drugs. Because as you know that the laws here is different from the U.S.
They're very
Canada.
strict here.
Yes, like marijuana and the weeds. I mean, like
don't smoke weed.
Yeah, don't do that. Yeah, exactly. So I would say that a lot of foreigners here, I think possibly they don't know, so they use the drugs here. They thought that it would be okay to use here in Taiwan, but actually not. So yes, but so usually we will receive some reports and from other people who is familiar with them, and but most of the cases about the drugs are, I will say, are not are very organized. I mean, I will say because we will have our intelligence shared by other agencies, and maybe from overseas, maybe from the CIB central agencies for investigations. So basically, I would say most of the cases related to drugs are very organized in my systems. So yeah, but if they receive those cases, they will notify Foreign Affairs Police to cooperate with them to help them deal with the case.
And correct me if I'm wrong, in Taiwan, you could require people to take a drug test, yes?
Yes, yes.
When he was arrested.
Someone's arrested. So when you go into like a dance club or a bar, you could take everyone out, put them on a bus, and take them to get tested for drugs?
It really depends. I mean, if we found one of the people in the nightclubs is using the drugs, then we will have all the people take the drug test. Yeah, it really depends.
Are foreigners periodically the victims of violent crimes in Taiwan?
The victims?
Yeah, I mean, do they Taiwanese ever attack a foreigner, or another foreigner attacks a foreigner? Is this something that periodically occurs?
That doesn't happen a lot, but still some. Because in my jurisdiction, there's the Taipei train station, and once last year I was dealing with a case that where Indonesian people, they fight each other, and one was terribly wounded, and after he got up, wake up in the hospital, he forgot most of the things.
So you couldn't prosecute? You couldn't find the person who did it?
Well, still we try our best to collect the statement of all the friends who witnessed these things happened, and afterwards we try our best to collect the statement and the saying from the witness, and we try to retrieve the CCTV footage to collect as much evidence as possible to the prosecutor's office.
What about the virus situation? What's the role of the Foreign Affairs Police with the virus? Logan, can you share a little bit about your recent experience?
Excuse me, you said
the virus, the COVID-19.
Oh. Maybe I would have to think about that. Maybe Amy can answer.
Have you had some experience with foreigners and the virus in Taiwan?
Not yet with virus, but you're correct partially that we Foreign Affairs Police in Taiwan are quite occupied by this issue. Because we are in charge of the disease prevention work. So every foreigners that transfer from Korea would have to take 14-day home quarantine. So within that 14 days, we Foreign Affairs Police would have to follow up the person's everyday situation to make sure he's okay and no discomfort, and they are not leaking out from his residence.
Oh, so you don't, do you actually go there? You knock on their door, or you only have to call them?
Yes, the day before yesterday, I go to a motel and knock on the door.
Was the person there?
Yes, he was sleeping and he forgot to charge his phone. So the phone was sending the abnormal signal to the command and control center.
Because there's supposed to be an app to track the whereabouts.
Yes, all the phones are tracking. So once they disappear and some abnormal signal sent out, then we would rush to the spot and knock on the door, make sure whether that person is there or not.
Why don't you use electronic bracelets?
That will be too
much.
over.
That
we try to be
violate human rights too much.
Well, I think the rest of us have a human right not to get the virus, right?
Yeah, I would say that the virus issue here in Taiwan is one of the most important and major issues now. So our government collect all the resources together, not only for the police but also for health and also the civil affairs together to try to control the disease to spread. So I mean police, because we are 24/7 service, so we can do that like hour and hours and non-stop services. So because the disease will not stop for you. You have disease will just go around the clock. So I think that's why the government choose the police to help them to manage and to try to contact and with the foreign nationals every day.
Hey, can you tell us just roughly how many foreign nationals are quarantined?
I think
are we talking hundreds?
Yeah, more than 100. But I think the number will be.
It's changing every day.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So because
just in the news today it said there was an American who's case number 50.
Exactly. Yes. So it really depends, because we have a home quarantine and home isolations. Depends on the situations. Sure. So home quarantine refers to the people who came back from the Korea or China or Hong Kong and Macau, and some I will say like a tier 3, because which is the most severe countries right now. So if they come back from those places, they have to take home quarantine. And as you said, an American, because he is the confirmed case right now. Then and all the people who had contact with
you're going to have to do the contact tracing. And if he's an American, it's very common for foreigners to have a lot of foreign friends.
Exactly.
So you're going to have to do the contact tracing. They would ask the Foreign Affairs Police to do that.
No, that would be the issue of the disease control department.
Yeah, because that is a severe situation.
Yeah.
We are much more dealing with the home quarantine, which is not that serious, which is not that severe, I would say. Yeah.
But have any foreigners tried to break quarantine?
Yes.
Then what was what do you do? I mean, what do you find him at the 7-Eleven and you put handcuffs on him?
We'll go to Hounded. In Taipei, well, it's kind of mission impossible, but still we make it. So we would use all the methods we can imagine to do this. We may retrieve the CCTV to seek where he is going. And then last week I was tracking a foreigner who's receiving home quarantine, but afterward, when you enter Taiwan, you would have to write down the record and where you are going to stay in Taiwan for the next few days. And it happens a lot is that you just write a temporary address, but afterward you switch to another hotel. And last week I was tracking one person, but it disappeared overnight to nowhere. So we track it via CCTV, and then when we cannot reach her on CCTV, then we start to locate and to find to contact all the hotels around, and then we are lucky enough to spot her. And
is she going to get criminal charge for breaking the quarantine?
Well, we will inform her all the notification that she have to know. But after our notification, if she violate the rule again, then she or he will be fined.
Okay, so very serious. quarantine, follow the rules if you're a foreigner under quarantine. And if you're living in Taiwan, don't do drugs. That would seem to be very obvious. And if you think that they don't speak your language, you're wrong, because these wonderful Foreign Affairs Police have excellent foreign language capability, or they'll get interpreters. Well, it's been such an honor to have Officers Emma and Logan from the Foreign Affairs Police. I'd like to say I hope to see you again, just as long as it's not in a situation where I'm going to be arrested. So I look forward to seeing you again soon, and thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. Invitation.
You've been listening to Residence Messenger on Taipei Broadcasting Station with your host, Ross Feingold.